Yes. Good evening, all my South Orange Maplewood listeners, and all those other listeners in the towns of Melbourne, Livingston, Irvington, West Orange, East Orange, Orange, and Newark. Welcome to In the Village with Ansem and Marjorie on the South Orange Maplewood online radio experience, and live on the World Wide Web at somore.org. And the only radio show covering all your news, opinion, politics, talk, and sports happening in the South Orange, Maplewood, and surrounding communities. You can listen to us every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. and reach us at 973-327-3626. That's 973-327-3626 to participate in the discussion. We have an interesting program lined up for you this evening, and we look forward to your participation in the discussion. Now, my co-host tonight called in sick. You know, I'm worried. You know, with all these things going around today, when someone calls in sick, you tend to get somewhat worried. But Marjorie, hope you get well soon, and you should be back here stronger than ever on Monday in the Village with Ansem and Marjorie on the South Orange Maplewood online radio experience. Tonight, we have quite a bit to cover. Quite a bit. And let's start with the Village Green. TC candidates clashed on Post Office, Springfield Avenue. Of course, the Hilton Neighborhood Association sponsored the Maplewood Township Committee Candidates Forum last Thursday night at the DeHart Community Center. Roughly 40 people turned out to hear the candidates faced off on pertinent issues that face the town. The four candidates, incumbent Vic DeLuca and India Laria, each running as Democratic on separate tickets. Kurt Kiley, Independent, and Bob Perez, Republicans, are running for 2 seats, which have 3-year terms. Now, you got to give Kurt Kiley and Bob Perez a lot of credit. Many may say that the township of Maplewood is basically a Democratic town, and we haven't had a Republican elected in quite some time. So Kurt Kiley, who is running as an independent, and Bob Perez, who's running as a Republican, has I wouldn't say an unsurmountable task, but has a gigantic task ahead of them to defeat the 2 incumbents, Mayor Vic DeLuca and India Laria. The four gave prepared statement and responded to questions provided in advance. The questions were: how will you expand services for Maplewood senior citizens? What is the best use for the post office property now that developer has pulled out? What actions would you take to fill vacancies on Springfield Avenue and attract anchor stores? What step will you take to decrease litter in the town and enforce anti-littering ordinances? How would you enforce laws regarding speed limit to make streets safer? The candidates found much common ground on the issues of seniors, litter, and speed limit. However, there were deep divisions, largely between the incumbents and other 2 candidates, on how the town should move ahead with the post office redevelopment and how to improve economic development on Springfield Avenue. So let's go to the Maplewood Post Office. Now that the recent developer of the post office property is no longer involved, describe what you think is the best way to utilize this property. DeLuca and Laria firmly believe the town should stick with the original development plan. Laria said the TC is meeting with 3 potential developers next month. The building needs to come down, said DeLuca. He noted the proposed 25 apartments will help bring vitality and foot traffic to the northern end of Maplewood Village. He also said a new developer will likely reduce the amount of retail to 7,000 square feet and add some parking in the basement. There was no plan B, said Perez bluntly. He said the town needs a vigorous marketing plan to attract potential businesses. He mentioned a Trader Joe's, an office supply store, or an urgent care center as possibilities. Our brand is our charm and character, said Kiley, who has been outspoken about disagreement with the TC on how the space should be developed. He said whatever is built should be smaller scale, mixed use, with a lot of retails and maybe apartments. Noting the village parking issue, Kiley said the town should serve existing residents first before new residents. And you wonder, when individuals are running for office, do they really and truly think through a process? And let me show you why. Our schools have maybe an average of 24 kids per classroom, right? So let's say, for an example, we do have, they said we're going to propose 25 apartments. So if you have in those apartments a family of 4, that's a mother or father and 2 kids, you will be adding an additional 50 kids to the school system. Has that been taken into consideration? In addition, those 25 apartment buildings is basically not bringing in any property taxes to the Maplewood Township. So the residents of Maplewood will have to bear the burden of those 25 apartments. Even if the apartment building pays $75,000 in taxes. This is an example now. $75,000 in taxes. Those 25 families will not be paying a penny of taxes, but their kids will be using the school system. Has that ever been thought about? You see, every year in this community of South Orange and Maplewood, taxes goes up. I'm waiting for that 1 year. If it's not a reval, that's a revaluation. I'm waiting for that 1 year when we have a reduction in taxes in the South Orange Maplewood School District. I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime, though. So it appears, as much as Kurt Kiley did say, maybe apartments, no one addressed the fact that if when we do have apartments and we do have more kids into the system, how is that going to affect the school system, and how is that going to affect the property taxes in Maplewood? To me, these are very significant points as far as an individual running for the Maplewood Township Committee. Now let's go on. The Springfield Avenue development. There are empty stores on Springfield Avenue. What actions would you take to attract more anchor stores? DeLuca said the town used a consultant to recruit outside businesses to the town. He said officials were constantly reaching out to and negotiating with potential retailers, including a bank to replace the Santander and a create-your-own sushi restaurant, a craft brewery that might move to an industrial place in Rutgers, and a major South Jersey retailer that wants to move to North Jersey. He cites the PSCNG development, a new owner who plans to reopen the former Maplewood Diner, and potential development in the area of Jacoby and Chancellor as steps that will be game changers for that part of Springfield Avenue. We are nimble, ready, proactive, and out there, DeLuca said. It doesn't seem like there's a vision, said Kiley, who said he disagreed with DeLuca on how to develop Springfield Avenue. I don't see it as highway business, but as pedestrian friendly, he said. The town should start small by attracting smaller businesses to build foot traffic and then focus on attracting larger anchor stores later. Kali and Perez both cited their business experiences as assets that will give them an edge on economic development issues. I disagree with Kurt regarding attracting smaller stores, said Laria. Look at Walgreens, which is now a thriving anchor. She said that the town's economic development and business recruiting committees will be able to get the businesses the town needs. Perez said the town needs to hire a full-time, dedicated marketing PR person. He wondered if something like a Gap outlet store could be enticed to move to the PSC&G building. You know, in going over these things, I did not know that there was a litter problem in Maplewood. What specific steps would you take to decrease the amount of litter all over town? How would you go about enforcing the anti-litter ordinance? The 4 candidates agreed the existing litter ordinance should be better enforced. Perez said people should also take responsibility for not littering. Laria and DeLuca said the town plans to get more of the belly buster track compactors in the town. For many of you who don't know, the belly buster trash compactors, the solar trash compactors that they have all across the town, you know, that many other towns have been using. Speed limit. Often speed limit are not being observed and drivers are not stopping for pedestrians at crosswalk. What specific step will you take to educate people and to enforce laws so that our streets are safer for pedestrians, cyclists, children playing, and drivers? Kylie said he's passionate about pedestrian safety. He said the town should conduct random speed traps and consider a program such as one South Orange conducted with crosswalk stings, referring to a recent neighborhood petition to improve traffic safety on Prospect Street, where residents said dangerous accidents and near accidents have been occurring for years. Kylie said it shouldn't take that long to get the town to act. Larry agreed that the town should conduct more speed traps and stings, such as the recent one on Valley. Parents mentioned installing speed camera on certain roads. DeLuca noted the town has added speed bumps on some roads, worked to get the speed limit on Valley reduced to 25 miles per hour, and added a crosswalk at Valley and Pearson. The town is also investigating installing push-button lights on some Springfield Avenue intersections that will light up to alert drivers when someone is coming. And it's always interesting when you have audience questions. You know, it always concerns me when you're talking about putting up cameras, because those are kind of expensive, and many times, people are able to beat those cameras where you get tickets for running red lights. So maybe that's not really one of the best ideas for a town like Maplewood. Maybe we could put our monies to better use rather than thinking about cameras. An audience member asked the candidates if they believe the township committee, which has been comprised solely of Democrats for many years, should have people who are members of different political parties. Perez said yes, and that diversity means working with different kinds of people. Kelly said he thought the town's problems were not partisan ones. He said the issue is that the township committee doesn't deliberate on issues that really matter, such as PSC&G and post office developments in public. Luca countered that the TC members represent a variety of thoughts. We start with different opinions and work together to compromise to come to a joint decision. He said the TC has good, hot discussion and that he wanted every member's views on the table. Resident John Harvey said he had figured out that 317 votes the current TC had taken, 301 had been unanimous decision.